Hello and welcome to Insights with Thomas Caldwell on April the 15th, 2021. Tom, there's a discussion in our country right now regarding capital gains tax to our homes. And I'd like to discuss this full-page ad that Caldwell Securities placed in the National Post and the Globe and Mail.
Okay, that's fine. Well, it's an excellent article, and I hope people get a chance to look at it or look at one of our websites where we have it on. I think governments everywhere, but particularly the federal government, are looking at anything they can tax. They're spending a tremendous amount of money right now, and they're going to need tax revenues. I'm not saying anything about it until after the election, but they have floated the idea of taxing the gains on your primary residence. This would be a horrible thing for Canada because this is the primary savings vehicle for most Canadians. More than the RSP or anything else, that home being a tax-free item enables them to, young people, to buy a starter home, and when they can, move to a larger one if they need it with more children or more space or more financial wherewithal. And it's also used by older people to sell the home, move to some care facility, or buy a smaller home and have resources. This is an integral part of the savings of Canadians, and it's probably the biggest savings component we have. This would be absolutely unconscionable. And what they're trying to do is say, well, we might make interest tax deductible. And I notice some of the larger financial institutions are supporting this idea. Well, guess what? They do mortgages. So I think there's a little bit of conflict there. But I think this is a horrible idea. If you look at the financial crisis of '08, a lot of it came from highly levered home ownership. Whereas in Canada, Canadians will do anything to make that mortgage payment. They don't struggle as much to make that RSP payment. This is an important and major asset for most Canadians. Now, it is interesting, the more wealthy you become, the less of an important asset it is. So I can understand our Prime Minister not seeing it as an important feature, but for most Canadians, this is their biggest single investment. And it has to be appreciated, recognized, and saved as such, because that's how we structure our financial affairs. It is a fundamental change in Canada, and if we want to emulate the US, well, I just don't think we should emulate the US in anything, frankly, but certainly not in taxation. Too complex.
So there's a lot going on in the markets right now, especially with those insane IPOs south of the border.
Well, there's a lot of money chasing some very speculative ideas. That generally does not end well. I think what's happening, it may be topping out a little bit here because people are getting a bit worried in the speculative component of the market. An interesting thing is happening, though. If you look at the areas in the US that are opening up, Florida and New York, the economies are exploding. They are a very, very powerful recovery. A lot of pent-up savings, a lot of pent-up demand, and that's just going to mean a strong economy. The thing that concerns me about that is governments are locked in a let's do something attitude, and they decide they're going to spend even more money to try to get the economy going when it's already going to be going well. I think that could create inflationary pressures, and I also think it could create higher interest rates going forward as people have to borrow and fund more money. So I think the government should stand back and recognize, hey, the individual's making some good decisions in their own best interests. Why don't we see how this works out? But they really want to jump up and down, bang their chests and say, look at what we've done for you. Oh, by the way, with your money. So I think it'd be a lot better if I'm a bit concerned about the overstimulus at a time when the economy seems to be picking up for itself. Markets overall, the stock markets, the financial markets, a little bit pausing here, a little bit tired here, and with the exception of these very highly speculative deals. But on balance, I'm relatively positive about markets. The valuations in mainstream companies that are real companies, it's still quite reasonable.
Thank you so much for your time, Tom.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. Bye for now.